my all-time favorite video game I've never played, not once that I can recall, like maybe one time at a friend's house after school or something like that, but I've always been enthralled with the franchise of Mortal Kombat. I love the movie. I like Annihilation for all the wrong reasons, and I wasn't that big of a fan of the reboot. But I've always liked the characters, and more importantly, the fatalities are just like so gory and just like artistically done to be like the goriest, like make you like clench up your butthole because it's so uncomfortable looking like thing in video gaming. It's so awesome. I don't know which one introduced them because I've never played one, but whenever they introduce the X-ray hits where like you just punch someone and their entire jaw shatters, but then the fight goes on like normal, those were really awesome. I've always liked Reptile's always been one of my favorites to watch because he has some of the weirdest like fatalities I've ever seen, because most of his stuff involves acid, and sometimes like back in like SNES era and Sega Genesis and stuff like that, it would just kind of go to a skeleton. But now that we're on like, you know, the HD era of gaming, you literally like see their skin like bubble up and boil away, and it's just like horrendous. But that I've always been interested in it, especially with Mortal Kombat 11. They introduced this, I think it's relatively new for the franchise, where you beat the game with a certain character and then they get their own like personalized like motion comic ending. Like, I know there was a lot of them because they reset like time or some shit, and then that Mortal Kombat 11, I think it was the one that got even like more fan servicey because like it brought back like the character models and stuff from like the 90s with like Johnny Cage and stuff like that, and then the DLC introduced Shang Tsung, and his model was the straight up actor from the Mortal Kombat movie back in the day, and that was just super awesome to see. I've always liked Mortal Kombat, but just fighting games in general I'm not that big of a fan of, and I just never got around to playing it.
Reptile wins. Fatality.
There's been a lot of games that I really liked the look of, but I never really got into. Like Bayonetta, I bought 1 and 2 on the Wii U, never really got into it. There's a couple of other ones, but the main one that I can think of is Fallout. I remember everything I saw about Fallout 3 looked really cool, and I ended up buying it at some point and just put it on my shelf and never got into it, and I don't know why. But the overall vibe, like everything seems really cool. Like I enjoy the empty like wasteland approach where there's like mutants and stuff, not just people. Like there's mutant like bugs and animals and all kinds of stuff, and not a lot of stuff takes like nuclear fallout and stuff as like a serious thing, but also a fun thing. And Fallout seems to be one of the only ones that just really runs with that, and they just do whatever they want. Like you got Nuketown that is a town that's built around a bomb that you can choose whether you detonate it or not, and that affects the story. And that's the other thing, is like the story seems really cool and in depth. I know I haven't looked into too much about 4. 3's so old now you can't really avoid having stuff spoiled for that, but that's fine. 76 didn't look very good, but like even the Fallout fans didn't care for that one. But 3 and 4 really, really looked like they were cool. I know I remember reading in some like gaming magazines when like 2 was coming out, and it looked really cool. I just have never actually gotten in and played it yet.
Well done, Mr. Burke. What a
My favorite game that I've never played is probably Splatoon. Any of them. I'm always interested, but the fact that it's almost solely multiplayer focused is what pushes me away. But every time they announce one, everything I see on it, everything about Splatoon, I am into. Like, it looks fun. The concept is insane. And the only thing killing it for me is, like, I'm not a big multiplayer guy. And that's pretty much what stops me. Like, every time I try to get around to one of them, and I'll probably end up getting Splatoon 3 at some point. But it's just not up my priority list right now because I don't really want to play multiplayer. But I like how the world is just this weird, goopy fish world where, like, all these pop stars are like, yeah, spray ink all over the place and all. It's just insane, and it's got this really cool, weird vibe. And it's fish people, and it's a post-apocalypse also, which I think is really cool and weird that they went with. Like, most of that, like Mario, not a post-apocalypse. I mean, you could probably draw some strings where it is. This one's 100%. Like, mammals destroyed themselves and fish took over. Except it's that, and it's got this goofy, like, ink-covered sheen on it, and you turn into a squid, then you turn into a kid and shoot everybody. And the weapons, the vibe, the art style, everything about it I love. The only thing that holds me back is that it's primarily like a multiplayer game. And I know there's a single player, but that's the reason I haven't played it. And those are the reasons that it's my favorite game I've ever played.
You need to get it so we can play Salmon Run.